more questions. She didn't, and quick-wittedness had never been her thing. Perhaps she should have claimed a secret husband she didn't have. Mrs. Finlay, not one to be deterred, changed tack. And it's from the parole board. Just when I thought I had you all figured out, I said to Laura, she's an enigma, that one, isn't she? Lenny ran her fingers over the smoothness of the envelope. Adult Parole Board Victoria was emblazoned proudly in the top right-hand corner, as if this was a regular and not at all concerning place from which to receive mail. It was clear, even to Lenny, who often found social nuances hard to decipher, what Mrs. Finlay was up to. She was meddling, hoping Lenny would spill all after a few pointed questions. But little did Mrs. Finlay know, Lenny had nothing to disclose. The letter was unexpected, and she didn't intend to indulge Mrs. Finlay's nosiness with speculation about what it may contain. And she was absolutely not going to open it, not in front of Mrs. Finlay, and possibly not at all. Lenny's curiosity didn't push her to explore the unknown. She was more than happy to retreat to what she knew and forget what she didn't. She was good at forgetting, most of the time. Thoughts of Fergus Sullivan, for example, were normally pushed to the furthest corners of her memory. Now his image was disturbingly front and centre. It made no sense whatsoever. It had been over 20 years since she'd seen her stepfather, and surely should be the least likely person to need to know anything about him. But what else could possibly be in that envelope? Fergus Sullivan. You did this. When she did think of Fergus, which was as little as possible, her skin turned hot with the memory of the stifling garden shed, the last place she'd seen him. You did this. 3 words, 3 syllables, a mere 18 points on a Scrabble board, and yet infuriatingly unforgettable. I love true crime, you know. I listen to all the podcasts. When I'm out on my after-dinner walks, I pop the headphones on and off I go, thinking maybe I'll solve this one. Mrs. Finlay was particularly hard to tune out. Her voice had a pitch and rasp that made it impossible to ignore. Lenny was usually able to distance and calm herself by rearranging words, and yet Mrs. Finlay kept breaking through and interrupting her anagrams. Mrs. Finlay. Rainfly, family, flimsy, snarly, males, fail, liar. The letters would move around in a manner that was as involuntary as sneezing. She'd done it ever since she could remember, and it was the easiest way to calm her thoughts or shut them off. My Frank says to me, Jeannie, you'll end up on one of those podcasts the way you block your ears up like that. Anyone could sneak up behind you and I just laugh. He's such a fuddy-duddy. But wouldn't that be ironic? Woman murdered listening to story about murder. Mrs. Finlay guffawed, in the way of someone who'd never had anything bad happen to them and therefore thought horrific crimes were fascinating. Did you get my work order, Jeannie? Kira asked from across the table, cutting off Mrs. Finlay, whose open mouth indicated she was poised and ready to carry on her cross-examination. Mrs. Finlay turned to Kira, and Lenny remembered to breathe. She was thankful for the reprieve, although it was incredibly poor manners of Kira to interrupt. What's that, Mrs. Reed? I put one in for the sink last week. The one in here's not draining properly, and it's still not. Hopefully the work order I put in hasn't got lost, like the last one. Oh, Mrs. Finlay hesitated. Oh, of course not. It's just hard to get a plumber in. Tradesmen can be incredibly unreliable, you know. Yes, they can. Unreliability is a particularly annoying trait, Kira said. Mrs. Finlay checked her watch, and Kira took the opportunity to shoot Lenny a wink. Lenny wasn't sure what the wink implied, but she wasn't a fan of them in general. They always seemed so unnatural and a little slimy. Anyway, ladies, I must go. I've got other mail to attend to. Mrs. Finlay stood up, and Lenny realised the downside of not ever disclosing her home address, even on official paperwork, was the opportunity it presented for exactly this sort of prying. Lenny held the envelope, moving her thumb over the printed name in the clear window, just in case it wiped it away. Unsurprisingly, it didn't. Lenny pulled her satchel around from where it hung on the back of her chair.